Hello and welcome to Monday Night's Rangers Rabble podcast. I'm joined by Wilf and Mark. How are we doing, lads? All right?
Aye, fine, Robert.
I was kidding, it froze there for you.
People are wondering why I'm in the top left, how this Chancellor's got a chance at hosting this thing. So Martin's gave me the keys to the house, so brilliant. Listen, lads, thanks for joining me in my first attempt at holding the podcast. Delighted. We're going to do a bit about Saturday's game, obviously. That's where we'll start. But just before I actually delve into the game, I was just wondering, based on Wednesday night at Tynecastle, how were you guys feeling pre-match leading into the game, Mark?
You know what? Under Beale, I'm no mega confident, but I'm no thinking to myself, under Gio, I was, this could be iffy and this could be a banana skin. Under Beale, I don't get that at all. Under Beale, I think to myself, do you know what? I'm 100% sure we're going to get 3 points here, which is a big big shift for me. As I said, it was a game against the likes of Hearts under Gio. I'd be like, I'm no looking forward to this. But no, I feel confident getting into most games now. To be perfectly honest, under Beale, I think we're signs of improvement.
No, definitely. I think the manager himself had said you're not going to get that Tynecastle performance week in, week out, Wilf. So with Ross County coming and putting men behind the ball, it was always going to be a different kind of affair, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's always going to be harder because we still struggle to break down teams that come and sit in because we just don't have the players that break down teams that come and sit in. I mean, the manager said himself, we're trying to score the perfect goal. We need to stop trying to score the perfect goal. But I mean, before the game, I was supremely confident until I bumped into some baldy guy in the club deck concourse who put me right on a downer. Didn't you, Mark?
It's not often you meet somebody as handsome as me. You know what I mean? It's obviously perks up your day, doesn't it? Win, lose or draw, you can always say you looked at such a good looking man. So it was all good.
No, brilliant. And obviously the game itself, a bit of a game of two halves, I would sort of put it down to. Mark, what did you think?
Yeah, it was although we controlled the game and we never really looked overly bothered by them. It seemed as if we were trying to at times kind of try and walk the ball into the back of the net, whereas a lot of us were just screaming, "Somebody had a shot for God's sake!" So it seemed as if we were trying to be far too intricate, rather than just somebody having a clout at it, really. But yeah, game of two halves. But as I said, we've never really in any trouble. All the time Ma started making chocolate buttons was when they scored, which we'll obviously get to. But really, realistically, we were very comfortable, and without being clinical, if that makes sense. But and as I said, the game of two half. Yeah, you're probably right, as I said. But I was never really in doubt that we were only going to beat them. Just seemed to lack a wee bit of urgency.
No, I think the manager was clear as well that he sort of said the players were taking sort of 3-4 touches when they should be taking 1 and 2 and getting a shot away. So I absolutely agree with you in terms of maybe being a bit more ruthless in front of goal. Well, Mark sort of touched on the goal that we... In fact, no, let's talk about the goal that we did score. Obviously, Tillman comes on for John Lundstram, who pulled up. It came on and really did make a difference in that first half.
Yeah, I was surprised that Tillman didn't start the game. And then I was even more surprised when he came on for Lundstram. I was expecting Kamara. I think everybody was expecting Kamara to come on. I mean, the manager said himself after the game, even the coaching staff were expecting to put Kamara on. But he put Tillman on. And Tillman, to me, he's been our most consistent player the last few weeks. You know, I mean, I know we'll come on to him later, but I mean, the title of the show is 5 million, a no-brainer. I'm absolutely tomorrow. I mean, terrific goal, good move, decent move. I thought Cantwell did really well to get the ball into Morelos. Great goal. You know what I mean? And it was a great goal from Tillman. It's what we needed. Right. I mean, any score, but right on half time is a great time to score a goal, particularly against a team who think they've done their job, sitting in, keeping us quiet. You know. Yeah, terrific. Just fabulous. Just a great time to score a goal. Decent goal as well. The one we lost, which I know we're coming to, the one we lost. Congratulations, Stephen Gillespie, on winning the first ever Rabble lottery.
Superb. What was the jackpot?
So it was 2.5 million.
But that's a nice wee lift.
2.5 million. Delighted. He's gone offers with Ross Wilson for Malik Tillman in the summer.
Super.
No, so yeah, Wilf, you mentioned obviously Tillman and Cantwell. Really delighted to see the camaraderie afterwards. I think Cantwell put on his Instagram the connection's going strong. We're having a picture of him and Malik hugging after the goal itself. Do you see that, Mark, has been a key sort of partnership moving forward for the rest of the season?
I think so. I think with the likes of Hadji coming back, and obviously he's going to be a bit part player for the rest of the season. I would think, trying to get him minutes and get him up to speed. So I think that's pretty much going to be your 210s as he likes to kind of play. I did notice that Cantwell was sitting a little bit deeper, and it was coming fairly deep sometimes as well to collect the ball. But so I think that he's playing that kind of role where he's meant to be supporting the 10. But yeah, I think that once the likes of Tillman, Cantwell, even Raskin, once they get their feet under the table, as the saying goes, then I think we're expecting big things from them all. As they play more together, train more together, they'll get that kind of connection and know what each other's runs and stuff like that they do. So yeah, for the future, it's all good. It's all good, especially if as it looks, he keeps kind of hinting that Tillman's going to be here next season, doesn't he? So it's all good, as I said, building up, moving forward.
Oh, listen, Malik Tillman seems to be getting a lot of praise week in, week out for the manager. He's not been shy in mentioning how good he's been, especially in the last couple of games. So hopefully it is one that's brewing in the background and does get done. Interesting, you mentioned there, Mark, about Raskin, and I know he only came on, played a wee cameo, but the manager said today he sees him more as an 8 than a 6. Now, I was shocked by that. I personally thought he was going to be more of a sort of a Lundstram Jack type, but it seems to me that the manager says if he's going to play a 6, he'd be more like Stephen Davis. What do you think of that?
Yeah, no, I've kind of looked at into him a wee bit, and the for me, I think he can do both. I think he can play an 8 or a 10. I think that the major factor for me is, and probably you've watched his wee cameo yourselves, that it looks as if he's got legs and he can get about the park, and he's willing to run as well. So I think that as an 8, it's pretty much what we've been looking for. This is somebody with legs, because this season we've been very, very leggy in the middle of the park, and it's been very pedestrian. So for me, somebody that's looking to play 1-2s and move is going to be massive moving forward. So yeah, there's positive signs all round. As I said, looking into it, he's very technical. I think that a lot of the press beforehand was saying he was a bit of a pit bull and liked to tackle and stuff like that. I think the definition of a pit bull and somebody liking a tackle in Scotland's a wee bit different from it is in Belgium. I think that he's probably a fancy Dan in Scotland, whereas he might be a pit bull in Belgium, but that's no going to be the case when he's here. So, as I said, I think that he's technically very good. Similar, as the manager said, similar to Kamara. So that kind of type player. But for me, it's probably Kamara with better legs. If I was to try and describe him to somebody that had never seen him before. So yeah, but it looks good. It looks very, very promising. I mean, you can't really judge the boy in 8 minutes that he got. But I mean, let's get excited. Why not?
No, definitely. Yeah, here we go. A £5 super chat for Aldo. Cheers, Aldo. I'll put this to you then, Wilf. Tillman is a must sign. Kent re-signed. Cantwell. Hopefully Alfie will run amok with these 4. What do you think?
Well, Tillman, as I said a minute ago, Tillman 100% tomorrow. I mean, evening, Kerr, how are you? Off the substitutes bench.
He's in.
Straight into the first team there.
Boys in the kitchen making a dinner. Martin's like, anybody jump on? I says, when we start, mate? He said it started. Give me 5 minutes then.
Sorry, Robert. Yeah, I mean, I think the manager's been pretty clever with what he's saying about Tillman, because he's saying every single time he speaks to the media, he's saying he wants to sign him, which means if we don't sign him, he can say, well, it wasn't my fault, I wanted him. You know, he can then pass the blame to somebody else if it does go pear-shaped, take the heat off himself. Hopefully it doesn't. I mean, they say that, I don't know how the deal's structured, but there's an opportunity to buy. I don't think it's an obligation to buy, it's an opportunity to buy. So I think the only thing that would stop it is if Malik doesn't want to come, and I can't see any reason he wouldn't want to come, because I mean he's loved here, and he seems to love being here. So to me, it's a no-brainer. Now, I'm struggling a bit to understand the fee, because the board have said there's 10 million ring fenced for him and Sands. Now, I don't think for a minute that it's 5 million each, because Tillman's twice the player Sands is. We're led to believe Tillman's between 5 and 6 million. If it is, I would just, whatever it is, if it's less than 10 million, I would just buy him anyway. But I think it's probably between 5 and 6 for Malik Tillman, and I'd get the deal done as soon as possible, before somebody comes into him and says, listen, say no to them and we'll give you 3 times the money because you're a hell of a player. Because I think that's the only thing that can stop the deal, is if the player says, I don't want to come, because the transfer's already agreed between Rangers and Bayern, I think. But obviously the player still has to agree to come.
No, listen, I think you make a great point there about, he's loved the Ibrox care. Obviously got his own song as well. Do you think that's going to play a massive part in actually getting him over the line if somebody was to come sniffing?
But his song?
Aye, song, aye.
He's got to say for a song. I think it just depends how much he enjoys playing with Rangers, how much he likes spending time in Scotland, and if he can see himself staying here for a couple of years. I mean, a lot of that will come into factors. I think football-wise, you can see he's happy. You can see he's getting better at each game. He's still got a lot of development to do in his game, and he's got a lot of learning. But at this moment in time, you would sign him tomorrow, wouldn't you? If he was available and if you want to put pen to paper. So I think it's a win-win for Rangers, because I think it will improve our team, but also on the business side, the club will get money back for him, more than they buy him for. So I think either way, it's a win-win. So it's up to the boy himself. But going on to Will's point about James Sands, I think the Sands money was just because that's what New York City obviously agreed with Rangers at the time, and every club value their players at something, and he was playing well with them, and he was in the US team or the squad, and they probably thought, he's worth about 4 million. Sadly, it's not worked out for him. I thought he was okay when he came in. Under Gio, he was getting more game time, but since Michael Beale's come in, he's not had a lot of game time compared to Malik. And to be fair to James Sands, he came in as a defensive mid, and he's never really been given a chance to play there. It's always been more of a centre-back, which he does okay, but he does struggle. So I think he's the one that will probably go back, and you sign Malik Tillman tomorrow.
No, listen.
Just on that, guys. See if they could renegotiate a fee for Sands. See if they said to us, give us 1.5 million, would you take him?
It's a no from Kerr.
No.
You, Wolf?
It's a no from Wolf.
No.
I think a telling sign is sorry, Wolf.
Sorry, Robert. The problem is, Mark, that as you say, we signed him as a defensive midfield player, and we've not seen him there. So on what I've seen him in his preferred position, I wouldn't sign him because I don't know what he can do there. I certainly wouldn't bring him in as a centre half, because he's never a centre back in your life, and we've not seen him playing in his preferred position. And as Robert was going to say there, Michael Beale's hardly played him, and he sees him every day.
That's it.
That's,
I think
if
we put that back three, he can maybe do a job sitting in the middle of the centre halves. I think that's probably his preferred position, like to just sit there, like the Americans call it, the quarterback role. I think he could probably do that really well, but I just think he probably better get back to where he was, enjoying his football. He might get a move somewhere else, because I think he's a good footballer. I just don't think it suits the way we play.
No, that's definitely a fair comment, I think. I wanted to go back to asking Mark, and you were sort of saying before about him obviously, looking like a player. With Lundstram possibly injured and out, does that give Raskin a wee punt into the team quicker than he might have got?
Maybe. I think that we need to be careful with him because he's not played a lot of football, and to fling him in straight away, to start games and stuff, you're maybe asking for him to get a wee injury, which I mean, touch everything, touch wood, touch that's not the case. But I mean, I just think that you need to ease the boy into it, maybe give him half an hour next time, so forth, so on, and then kind of ease him into a full 90 minutes. But you might be right; they might just go like that, fling him right in. He done it with Cantwell, so maybe, as I said, I think the boy had half a day's training session with his teammates, and he's flung him into the squad and brought him on as well. So there might be that possibility. For me, I would be treating the young boy with kid gloves at the moment.
Okay, no, that's fair cop. I think that's.
I disagree with that, Mark. I'd be. Sorry, Robert. Sorry to cut across you again. Okay. I'd be starting him. He's got he'll have a week's training under his belt. It's Partick Thistle in the cup. I'd be throwing Rasky on and saying, look, see how long you can last. If you give us an hour, brilliant. If you're knackered after 45 minutes, take you off at half time, because you know what I mean. We've got 5 subs to use. I know the manager said he's probably not going to be using 5 subs all the time going forward, but Sunday's a great opportunity to do it. Partick Thistle in the cup. It shouldn't be too difficult for us. I would start Raskin and just say, look, go give yourself some game time. We'll give you maximum an hour. If you're knackered before that, we'll take you off. But if you can last, great, and then take it from there, see how he is after that. Because I don't think we'll be playing him particularly too much at Livingston the following game, given the state of that bloody pitch.
You might be right.
No, just on that, how long is Lundstram actually had a scan? Do we know what's actually going to be going on with him? I don't know, the manager's not spoke today. That's right?
I don't know.
No, he said yesterday that he just took it. He said yesterday that he took a knock. He jarred his ankles blocking a shot, but he left the ground. Apparently, he left the ground in one of these moon boots. Yeah, so right. I'm assuming that's just a precaution. But to me, if he's got his ankle in a moon boot, I don't think we'll see him at the weekend. But I don't know, because they haven't come out and said anything, and I don't will come out and say anything in the press conference on probably Friday.
You'll probably get a check at some point this week. You'll probably maybe up at hospital today and check. But professional football players go on moon boots for any reason. It's just to protect them for when they leave ground to get back home. Do you know what I mean? I think we might have just jammed it, staved it, whatever you want to call it, maybe just bruised the bone. But I don't think about it for a while. But I suppose it is Rangers are talking about. So I happened to Lawrence once. I've not seen him since. So it could be any time we're staff, so hopefully he's not. But if he is, then we just have to go on and go. Mate, we've got Kamara, we've got Jack, and we've got Raskin now, so I don't think it'll be too much a risk.
Before you jumped in, Kerr, we were actually talking about the game on Saturday, and we're just getting putting the first half to bed. So I'll come to you. The goal we concede. I'm going to say it's typical Rangers, because it seems to be the sort of goal we've been conceding. You look at Rugby Park, for instance, a ball into the box and centre halves and the goalie are nowhere to be seen. So, what do you think is the problem there at the back at the minute?
It's just one of the goals that I still say, without a goalkeeper behind the back four who's consistently there and somebody they can basically trust. You need a bit of trust between your keeper and your back four, and that trust has been there for a couple of seasons. Last season it was poor, this season's worse, and changing goalkeepers week in, week out doesn't help either. So I think that could be the reason. But it was like, did John McLaughlin give a shout to say mine? I don't know if he shouted to come for it, or did the defender go for it and miss it? I don't really know. We all know Jordan White's good in there. The size of him, he's a big bloke, but it's just one of the goals. It could have been avoided, but teams know that when the players, they've known that for the last while, last season and this season. They get it right and put the balls in the box, because they know a lot of time we make a pig's ear it, do you know what I mean? So it's just one of the ones we usually do. We're getting better defending set pieces, but you have to look at a keeper, don't you? And I'm not been a fan of John McLaughlin. I think he's a good squad goalie, but that's it for me. And I've said that from the very start. I don't think he's a number one for anybody in leaving Rangers. I just think throughout his career, you can see he's not played a lot of games as number one. He went to Sunderland and kind of get dropped. So, to me, if you go to Sunderland and you kind of get a game down there or something up, because Sunderland were poor at the time. So, no, he's not for me. I think we need a new keeper. But I was sticking McGregor to win the season. And before anybody puts in the comments, I know he's not the Alan McGregor we were used to. I know he will make mistakes, but out of 3 keepers we've got, I would stick with at least McGregor. You have to stick with one of them. You can't chop and change. Doesn't help. That makes matters worse for me.
No, listen, cheers to Brian for the £5 super sticker there. Thanks, Brian. Just on the goalkeeper, I think the manager had came out after the game, and I don't know if he defended McLaughlin, but he certainly didn't throw him under the bus. He said it was more of a sort of a collective thing in terms of defending. He said, John's no lost a game since I've been here with John in the goal. So I think he maybe sort of backed his goal a wee bit, and then said that McGregor's still the number one, and we won't see as much chopping and changing because we've not got the midweek games coming in, Will. So who do you think will start and goal on Sunday?
It's got to be McGregor. McCrory's still injured. I mean, that just sums up their injury luck towards the tail end of last calendar year, because our third choice goalkeeper got injured not playing games, and he's been out for ages. And they were saying he's still 2 or 3 weeks away from even getting back to training. So he's not an option for the foreseeable future. But every time McLaughlin's had a chance, he's thrown one in. Although, as the manager says, we haven't lost any games with him in the goal, but we've lost an awful lot of really silly goals. So, going by the manager's comments that he won't be rotating keepers, it's got to be Griggsy back in and just play him. I think the next time we'll see any change in goal, unless McGregor is injured or suspended, will be the first week in March when we've got 3 games in a week, because he doesn't seem to like playing a goalkeeper 3 games in a row for whatever reason. Because we've got whatever either side of the weekend in Hibs. So I think then we might see McLaughlin back in, or McCrory if he's fit by then. But I think for the foreseeable, it's got to be McGregor.
Just to say that off throat, sorry, guys, for butting here, but why does he not like to play a keeper 3 games a week? To me, a goalkeeper doesn't do as much, especially at Rangers, as other outfield players. So why not play him 3 games in 1 week?
I agree with you, Kerr. I would be exactly the same. But I mean, going by his comments after the game when he was talking about the goalkeepers, he was saying he changed it because they're playing 3 games in a week. Whether McGregor's body can't handle it because he's 41 now, and if that's the case, he shouldn't be. Well, he shouldn't be here anyway. I don't think.
No, he shouldn't be here.
You know, but he's obviously to me, he's telling us that McGregor's body can't handle 3 games in a week. So I don't know. That was just the comments he made, that there won't be any there won't be so much rotation because there's no midweek games. So you have to put that down to the fact that McGregor, who's the number one, he said consistently McGregor's number one, that his body can't handle 3 games in a week, because it's noticeable that he plays the 2, then gets the 1 off. It's not, he doesn't get the 1 in the middle off. It's not like he got dropped midweek or rested midweek and played both weekend games. It's not like we've got a weekend keeper and a midweek keeper. It seems to be McGregor played the 2, then got the Saturday off. So I don't know, but to me, the next time we're going to change keeper is around about the first week in March when we play Hibs, and hopefully McCrory's fit by then and we can see what he can do.
Mark, after the equaliser, Ross County, should I say, had a bit of sort of foothold in the game. I thought they had probably their best spell. Then Rangers got up to get the free kick and managed to work a second goal. Connor Goldson, obviously he won the free kick. I thought he was magnificent the whole game, really. I thought he defended well. He played really high up the pitch. What are your thoughts on the big man at the minute? Obviously, since you come back into the side, and obviously since Michael Beale's taken over.
I think probably a big part of the fact that he's doing well is I think the boys next to him. I think Davies has made him look more assured, because he's quite a kind of calming influence at the back as well. And I think that a lot of the time Goldson was too busy worrying about who was playing at the side of him to actually concentrate on his own game. And I think probably that's when at the start of the season he had a wee dip in form. And obviously usual, getting dogs abuse for the fans. But I think that a lot it's to do with his partner. I think his partner, I think the big fella's playing really well, calm, composed, and he looks pretty good as well. So I think that they're starting to make a nice partnership together, the two of them. So for me, they're looking solid, but more importantly, they're looking calm and composed, and as I said, there's no that kind of frantic, shanking balls at the park and giving away stupid passes and stuff like that. So for me, I think he's getting back to where he should be. As I said, we kind of know where he is. We know how good he is at points. So Yeah, no, I think as I said, he's doing really well. I think the whole defence is starting to look good, and it's great what happens when you get a settled back four on it. It's something that we've not had all season. So, and it just shows you, for me, as I say, they're improving every game.
No, it's listen. I'm with you. Settled back fours miles and miles better than what we had at the start of the season, chopping and changing, midfielders playing at the back as well. So interesting. I don't know if anyone saw there was a quote from him today doing the rounds, just on about saying, you look at people who've left the club, are they happy? I don't think I could now play for a team that wins once every 3, 4 and 5 games. I just don't think I could mentally take it, because when I lose or draw a game here, it's like the end of the world. Is that care a rallying cry to the boys that might be having one eye on an exit with a contract coming up?
It could well be. I just can't express his opinion. I think when you play with Rangers, you're under different pressure than maybe a Rabble is at Southampton or Bass is at Ajax. So it could be with maybe fingers to the two for leaving, or Nathan Patterson struggling at Everton. Or maybe he's saying that a wee dig it, not a dig, but a wee thing to say to Kent and then Morelos, make up your mind and stay here. But at the end of the day, the guys do it to do it for themselves. They don't do it for anybody else. If they want to go, they go. If they want to stay, that's fine. But Rangers are a football club. No matter who the player is, it will continue to go forward. And we change players all the time. That's how sometimes it's not great getting a player, when I was younger, getting a player in the back of your shirt, because they'd end up leaving. But it's just one of the things. Connor's captain, I think. He will no captain, vice captain. So I think he just likes to make a statement, and he's playing really well. And I think he probably looked at the criticism he maybe received at the start of the season for various places and thinking, he's not as good as you think he is. But I think Connor Golson's are still our best defender. I thought that last season, the season before, and I still think that. I think with him there, we're a different side in the net when he's not there. And I think you've seen that when he was injured. And I think Ben Davies has helped him, because, like Mark said, he's very composed and assured. So I think the two of them together, and the more they play together, the more success they're going to get. But the only thing is, the more they play together and they continue to get better, teams could have an eye on him as well, because they could come in with an offer for either of them, and that's what you want. But you want your players to be noticed by other clubs, because then they're doing well for you. Do you know that way? And everybody's got a price at the end of the day. But no, it's good to see him saying things like this, and it's good to see he's happy here. And listen, Connor Golson, like I said earlier, if he's fit, he's the first name in the team sheet probably for the manager. So I'm happy with his comments. But as for Alfie and Ryan Kent, I think one will stay and one will go. And hopefully it'll be Kent that stays.
Well, I wanted to come to you about the substitutions in the game, and it's led to a comment that got a bit of press from Michael Beale after the match. He said that he maybe changed one or two who'd come on and weren't necessarily playing for themselves, but weren't in tune with the rest of the team. What do you think of that?
Yeah, it's quite a strange comment. I mean, they're only going to get in tune with the rest of the team if they're actually playing games with them. I mean, that's the whole. Like we've just said about the back four, they're playing well because they're playing consistently every week. The four of them are playing together every week. So if you're bringing in players, particularly in advanced positions, when you're chasing a goal, which we were to some extent on Saturday, if you're not used to playing together, you haven't played a lot of minutes together, it does take a minute or two to tune with each other. So they're probably not in tune together. The more interesting comment he made for me was when he defending when he brought on Tillman. He said that it was the right thing he thought at the time, but he maybe overloaded the front area. Now, to me, you can't have too many attacking players on the pitch, but I think I know what he was trying to say, and that there wasn't a lot of room, and they're all kind of running into the same space all the time, which makes it difficult, So it's nice that he sees that, I just hope it doesn't mean going forward that he's going to make more defensive substitutions. I mean, I thought when Kamara came on, it completely killed the game dead. I know why he brought him on. He brought him on, to try and free up more space up front. But I think that just killed the game stone dead for me.
No, I think as well, he alluded to maybe no using the 5 subs as much. He said something for me that was a bit when he said trying to keep players happy was maybe one of the reasons for bringing on so many. But I think, Mark, going forward, if you've got the jersey, you've got to try and keep it, right?
I think that's the way it works. I think that's the way it works with Beale, definitely. For me, that's always been the case. I'm a wee bit old school, and if you're doing a business, then it's your jersey to lose. And for me, that's how it should be in football. I don't think you can afford to have passengers. and people that are guaranteed a shirt. As far as I'm concerned, for me, it's a big no-no. But I'm not too sure who it was angling that at. I really don't. I don't know. It's a bit of a strange one. As I said, sometimes it says a wee bit more than it should, which is always good because it beats sitting. I remember sitting talking about Gio's press conferences, and it was like halfway through his press conference, I'd start looking at my phone and then no hear half of what he was saying because it was the same recycled mince. But yeah, it's a bit of a strange comment. A couple of his comments are a wee bit strange, but I think he's playing a wee bit of mind games with the squad as well, saying, "Look, you better get your finger out. If he's only competing and he's only showing me that he's doing well, then he's only going to be here. It's as simple as that." And for me, I love that attitude. I think that's great.
Well, but for me, the only person he could probably end that comment at is Kamara. Tillman was on after 11 minutes. The other two at the end get 9 minutes, and we all know it takes more than 9 minutes to get involved in a football match at times because you have to get up to speed again, first of all. So the only one was Kamara after 60 odd minutes. So that was the only person I think he came aimed at. Kind of asking a troll like, and Tillman made a difference when they come on, I thought. So it's only Glenn Kamara he's aimed at, nobody else, in my opinion.
Do you think Glenn Kamara is a better player starting the game?
I think Glenn Kamara does a job. I think sometimes a lot of work he does goes unnoticed, and he's not going to be one of these guys who'll stand out in a part because he's not a flair player. You see him at times he'll be going forward and the body movement and stuff, but he cleans up. He marks players, as I know, get any positions to mark players so the ball doesn't go down that way, so the other team have to move the ball the other way. So it does a lot of good work off the ball, Glenn. So I think he's very underappreciated, and I thought he'd done all right when he came on. I know Will said he slows the game down, but he kind of does that, and it was probably in our favour because County had a wee bit higher tempo in their game at the time because they get a wee boost. But I don't know who, unless it was Kamara, unless he said it's not Kamara, and I don't know who that comment was aimed at, unless he just said it just, but I don't know why he would. So I think it was aimed at Glenn, which I think is not really fair. So I think he done that bad. I think, I'm not going to say he done great. I mean, Raskin get 9 minutes and everybody's applauding him, but you can't just somebody in 9 minutes. If it was anybody, he's got right, Cholak get 9 minutes, didn't he? We're not applauding him, and I thought he done all right when he came on as well. But I think it should be because Raskin first time to see him, everybody was getting a bit over OTT and that, and I was happy to see him as well, to be honest with you. But I just think the comments aimed at Glenn, which I thought if it is too, then it's a bit unfair.
Well, just coming back to pick up from Mark, I think he was on about the manager. I think Michael Beale's finally sussing out his players, sussing out his squad. I know he had sort of praise for just Tillman and Cantwell, saying that those two are arguably the best players on the pitch, meaning they'll probably keep their jersey for Sunday. Do you see major change getting this cup game?
I'd be very surprised if major change because, I mean, as I said earlier on, it's with the greatest respect to Partick Thistle, we should be able to make a number of changes and take care of Thistle, especially at Ibrox. If it was at Firhill, maybe not so much because it's a total, it's a tighter pitch and different environment. But at Ibrox, particularly because you can have 5 subs, you can have the big hitters on the bench, and if you need them, you bring them on. Not ideal, but if you need, but you can make a lot of change. You'll change your goalkeeper because, as we say, McGregor will come back in. I think McCrory would have started, but he's injured, so he can't. And I can't see him sticking young Kieran Wright in, who's been the third travelling goalie. I really can't see him. So it's going to be McGregor, I think. Back four. I think the back four will stay the same just for consistency. I think there'll be a few changes in the front half of the field. As I said earlier on, I'd be starting Raskin just to see how long he lasts. Possibly alongside Cantwell. I'd be starting Cholak because he needs a game time. I'd give Kent a rest because he could do with a rest. I think there could be a number of changes on Sunday.
Just to finish up on the Ross County game, I'm a bit gutted actually Brian's on because he loves a bit of controversy when it comes to the man in the middle. So the Morelos booking, Kerr, what did you think of that?
He's booking.
Aye. It's like he went in the boy, didn't he? I don't even make.
I was watching on the TV because I was actually busy on Saturday because I had something on at night, but I can't remember, Robert. I apologise.
Any other boys there?
I have got no idea what you get booked for. I didn't even think it was from where I was sitting. I didn't think it was a foul. I've heard people say it was a foul, but there's no million years it was a booking. I mean, the referee, as soon as Morelos made the challenge, the referee was in his top pocket. The referee was, he was absolutely howling. I mean, there was one of the Ross County players got booked about 30 seconds from the end of the game for a very innocuous challenge. What was the point? What was the point of pulling the yellow card out other than to say, look at me, I'm the referee? It was nothing. It wasn't a booking, to me. You know, and that's like an opponent that's fouled one of my team's players. To me, you could possibly argue it's a booking with 30 seconds of the game left. What's the point? I just don't get it. But the Morelos one,
the boy Callahan flew through there. I know he never caught the Rangers player, but that was a booking to me because the boy Callahan jumps in the tackle, but he misses him.
Yeah.
But he goes up, he studs up, and if he hits him, that's a bad injury. Do you know what I mean? But the referee never. But you've seen players getting booked for that before because the intent's here, even though you don't make a tackle, the intent's here. So why did you not get booked?
Yeah. Well, exactly. When I was screaming for a booking, we all sat there, looked at each other and why is he not booking him for that? That's a hard. If he catches him, he puts him in hospital. You know what I mean? And I don't particularly like starting on referees because they're all really bad. But he was absolutely. He was terrible. The guy on Saturday, was it Ewan Anderson? I think it was. Oh, he was absolutely shocking. Just, I mean, the Morelos tackle you're talking about, Robert. As soon as he saw who it was, his hand was straight in the pocket. You know what I mean? Without
no
a second
hesitation.
thought. It's as if he couldn't wait to book him. You know, no hesitation at all. Look at me, I'm big and big. I can book a friend of Morelos. You know what I mean? I think we make substitutions sometimes because players have got daft bookings that aren't really bookings just in case they get sent off. You know, something I think the referee's forcing our hand because some of our bigger players, and I think it'll happen to Cantwell, I think in the not too distant future, we're going to get a ridiculous booking and we'll have to take him off because the referee will be looking to make a name for himself by sending him off. And it shouldn't be like that, but that's just Scottish referees for you.
No, you're absolutely right. It shouldn't be like that. Just to come away from the game, a lot's been made afterwards about, I think we'll call it the Subway Loyal. Fans leaving early, guys. It rears its head once or twice a season. Well, Phil, no doubt you were at the game. Mark, were you at the game on Saturday?
Yeah, I was there, yeah.
I saw somebody put a tweet saying, on about Raskin's debut, and they said, it was great for him to walk out in front of 22,000. So what was it like, and when were they leaving from, Mark?
So look, just on that, people's circumstances are different. Whatever. I mean, I've left slightly early when I've had my boys with me. If I've got my kids with me, then it's one of those where if you've got two young kids or even one young kid, the amount of bodies coming out of Ibrox, it'd be dead easy to lose them. Do you know what I mean? So I've shifted probably 5-8 minutes to go. I've went early just to kind of beat the rush. So everybody's individual thing is different. Circumstances is different. So, but for me, I want to watch a game. I'm paying money to go and watch a game. I want to see my team doing well. I want to, when the final whistle goes, I want to clap my team off the park. So that's for me. I think it's a personal thing. I don't think that people leaving in droves is a good thing. I don't think it sends a good message to the players. But it is what it is. It's one of these things. You can't. It's people's prerogative. If they pay their money, it's like one of my pet hates is when you go and there's guys screaming and shouting abuse at their own players. I'm there to support my team. Let's support them. All right, you might not be happy with them with some of the things that they're doing, but support them first and foremost. You pay your money. They're part of your team. Whether they're playing having a howler or whether they're playing amazing, let's support them. But as I said, they pay their money. It's up to them what they do. If they want to leave early, well, let them leave early. I couldn't care less. It's no. If I want to stay, I'll stay. If they want to go, let them go. I couldn't care less. I really couldn't.
Well, just on what Mark says there, I'd read a tweet. Some guy saying there was a guy up next to him in the club deck that was shouting at Morelos from minute 5 to minute 95. I mean, I know we all have the odd moan, but what do you say to these guys that go to the game and sit there just pinpointing one player precisely and going at them for the full match?
As Mark says, that's their prerogative. I mean, that's what they want to do. I mean, it annoys me somebody does that, and if I'm sitting near me, I might have a word and say, look, give a guy a break. But at the end of the day, it's up to them. I mean, as for folk leaving again, Mark's 100% spot on. It's entirely up to each individual. I mean, the old guy, my old mate Tommy that sits beside me, he's struggling with his mobility at the moment due to illness and stuff like that, but he's still determined to come to the games. So 20 minutes to go, he's leaving because he has to, because he can't stand in subway queues. You know, he's like, he needs to get himself on the subway in a seat on his way back home to Dumbarton, because standing in a subway queue is going to cripple him. And he doesn't like to leave early, but he knows he has to at the minute. There is people like that, circumstances like that. The thing that bothers me about the people that leave on 80, 85 minutes every single week is in the bigger games, they don't. So, you know, like maybe a Celtic game, a lot of them don't leave early. A big European night, a lot of them don't leave early. So what's the difference? Why is their circumstances so different, you know, half a dozen times a season when it's a massive game? It's up to their choice. You know, up to their choice. So somebody made a point there that it does take, you know, it can take you upwards of an hour to get onto the motorway if you're there in a car. You know, the subway queue can be really long. You know, it's some people have got to leave to go to work. There used to be a guy sat beside me going back maybe 10 or 15 years ago, and he left on 80 minutes every single week because he had to get to the airport to fly back to Belfast. That was every week he had to do that. You know what I mean? Fair play to the guy for making the effort to come all that way, knowing fine he's missing the end of the game. There isn't thousands of people in that situation, but it's up to each individual. I hate leaving early. There's been the odd occasion I've had to leave early, and I've absolutely hated it because I don't like missing kick-off, and I don't like not being there at full time. But that's me. I know Mark's the same. You know, it's one of them.
Well, I was up for the St Johnstone game, and I managed to sit in the BF1, so I was quite close to Union Bears probably for the first time, really. We usually sit in other parts of the stadium. It's been muted again. Would Ibrox care be the same without them? Would there be any atmosphere in the ground? Because obviously we've got the atmosphere in the big European nights. The old firms take care of themselves, but your run-of-the-mill games, it's all coming for that corner, isn't it?
But Rangers are the only team affected, but that's a lot of stadiums are the same, and people got up for different games. They get excited for different games. Celtic games take care of themselves. European nights are different. We all know that. But on a Saturday or a Sunday when you're Ibrox against Ross County, St Mirren, Motherwell, the Union Bears will sign for 90 minutes. Some people join in, some people don't. It's just everybody's different. I mean, I'm sitting up in the Brimlow and Weir, so I hear Union Bears constantly as well. And if you're on the air, it would be a very quiet stadium at times. But because I'm just up above them, it's quite loud to me. But I know what you're like. If you're in another part of the stadium and nobody else joins in, then it is quite quiet. I mean, I remember going when I was younger, I used to stand in the west enclosure, but before it gets seated, and that was a great time because you never stand in the same spot all through the game, because every time you scored, you get moved with the crowd. So when you finish jumping about, you're in a different spot again. Do you know that way? So that was good back then. But football,
you're showing your age, mate.
I don't need to show my age. You can see my age. Football's just different nowadays. I just always preferred terracing, but football's changed, and I think when people are sitting, people like to come sit in comfort and just watch it. It's like, for some folks, like going to the cinema, going to the theatre, get entertained. But sometimes, I mean, I'm up the very back row, so if anybody stands up, I'm fine because I can still see. But people don't like people standing up and singing. In some places you go to Ibrox, they like to tell you to sit down or whatever. So it's just football fans in general. But I agree with that. Sometimes it is like a church, but other times it's rotten because it's not just Rangers, it's every stadium. That's how a lot of football teams have got these ultras, as they call themselves, to make noise because some other fans don't.
Mark, would you link that though to result of performances? Sorry, Wilf, you just don't, because obviously you're at the Leipzig game, the ground's electric and it's driving the team, it's pushing the team. So do you link that into some of these sort of below par displays against the weird teams at home?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think that it's up to the players to get us off our seats. So best way to do that is put the ball in the net. You'll get people singing 2-3-0 up. Everybody's happy. Everybody's relaxed. Everybody's want to sing. So, as I said, for me, the crowd was very, very similar to the team on the park because they were very lacklustre and they were very kind of, as I said, they lack tempo. And see that tempo as well. See when the team comes out and they start knocking it about and moving it quickly and running off the ball and it's exciting to watch. So as you get excited, obviously the atmosphere generates from that as well. So I mean, for me, it's up to I'm not going to go and sit there and go, right, hurry up, entertain me. But that's a big part of it. If they're playing well and they're streaming forward and we're creating chances here, there, and everywhere, and it's an exciting game to watch, then that gets everybody up and it gets the crowd a wee bit noisier as well. So definitely the players have got a part to play in that as well.
Wilf?
Yeah, they definitely have, and that's right. I mean, that's comment from Stephen's right. It is a two-way street. But I mean, going back to the it must be demoralising players if they're 2 or 3 goals up and the ground starts to empty. They go, well, they should die. You know, really is the way I would look at that. But I mean, the whole atmosphere thing. I mean, going back to what Kerr was saying, I used to love a terrace. I mean, when I first started going to Ibrox, I went into the enclosure as well, and it was great. But then it wasn't all season tickets. Ibrox wasn't full all the time. You could go into the game with your mates. You just pay at the door and go in with your mates. So those busloads of folk going in together, and you're more likely to sing and make an atmosphere if you're comfortable with the people around about you, as opposed to you don't really know the folk around about you. You know, you're going to be a lot of people will be a bit more reserved. So you'll get, I mean, I don't sit with the guys I travel to games with, and there's thousands of people in the same boat. Whereas in the pre-Soonest days, if you like, going way back there, and I am showing my age, you know, you were all going down, you were paying at the door, you were all going in together, you were sitting or standing together. And there was more. It's like an away game. You go to an away game, even the atmosphere at away games has tailed off a little bit because supporters clubs aren't getting the same allocation of tickets they used to get. When supporters clubs were getting busloads of tickets, they were all going in and standing together because it was all terrace and everybody stood together. You knew everybody and you egged each other on and you all had a bit of crack together. Whereas now, even if a supporters club's got 20 tickets, they're probably in 16 different parts of the ground or 16 different parts of the stand. So you don't really know everybody. And a lot of people are a bit more reserved. The big games take care of themselves because everybody's really, really hyped for it and the whole place is bouncing. But in the run-of-the-mill games, because you're not with the people that you're pally with. And the other thing as well, where Ibrox is concerned, you know, we've all got, those of us who've got season tickets, the only thing we see the folk around about is more or less is at the game. You know? So a lot of folk are catching up with their pals, if you like, at the game. Oh, the boss has appeared. I must be rambling. The boss has appeared. Martin.
No. Good evening, everybody. Hello, how are we? Very, very, very quickly. As most people watching know, most regular viewers know that the Rangers Rabble will be going full time towards the end of pre-season, start of next season. And in order to do that, we need your support, the people watching. We need people to join up as members. The website will be coming soon. Everybody will know what to do there. But we have also... I'm delighted to say partnered again with Kitbag. And I'm going to bring this up now. I've tried this before and it hasn't really worked out, but I will try it now. So yes, thanks to the guys at Kitbag. If you use the link in the description and use the code Rabble20, you will get 20% off your order for all Rangers gear. And of course, if you use the link in the description and use the code BALLER, you will get money off of other things as well. So there's plenty to look at on the website, but I'm going to give you a very, very quick example. Now, I'm not a size medium, as most people will know. But I don't know who's laughing there because I'm currently on the website just now. But please don't laugh at my size. That's not very nice. And you head to the checkout. Now, bear in mind, this is if you use the link in the description. You come to the coupon bit, you type in Rabble20 and you get 20% off of your order. So yes, thank you to the guys at Kitbag for sponsoring and supporting the Rangers Rabble. We're hoping to get more sponsors on board, but until then, keep subscribing, keep sharing, all that good stuff, and help support the Rangers Rabble. So thank you everybody for watching, and I will hand you back over to the beautiful Robert.
Cheers, Martin. No, brilliant to have Kitbag back on board, smashing news. Sorry, just I didn't want to. There's no all doom and gloom in the stands. I saw some positivity as well. It was Randallstown Rangers Supporters Club had a young Bears trip over for Ulster. all young guys looking at about age 8 to 10. Apparently a big success and a fantastic day. So there is good things happening inside the crowd, which is not all doom and gloom and people leaving early. So I just wanted to point that out. Wilf, I'm going to come back to you. I know you've just sort of drawn your breath, but we mentioned before, Edmondson House, news is broke today. Some gigs have been announced. St Phoenix on the 31st of March, followed by Callum Beattie on the 7th of April. What do you know about that, and what do you think about the club finally getting some names on the board?
I think it's, as I said before we came on, I think it's very, very shrewd of the club that the first two gigs are with Rangers supporting entertainers, shall we say, because there'll probably be, I would expect, having worked in the entertainment business for a number of years previously, I would expect there will be teething problems the first at least the first gig, probably the first couple of gigs. And if you get a big name act in or somebody that's not got Rangers leanings and there is one or two problems, they're likely to say, well, that was shite. Whereas, you know, if something goes slightly awry for, hopefully they don't, but these things can happen. And that's bang on, Paul. They both will sell out. That's another point. You know, if there are slight teething problems, I don't think they'll particularly go to town singing about it, because it's their club at the end of the day. You know, but the other things that they've announced in New Edmondson House, I think they've scored a slight own goal, because the first thing they've got is a week on Sunday, the gala opening dinner, £120 a ticket. A wee bit racy, but that's what you pay for these things. And it's also going to be incorporating the latest inductees into the Hall of Fame. Now, that's brilliant. That's going to be fabulous, because we're well overdue a Hall of Fame. It'd be interesting to see who the Hall of Fame inductees will be. And it's long overdue because of COVID. But to me, that could be two separate nights. A gala opening of New Edmondson House at £120 a ticket, that will sell out. And a Hall of Fame dinner at £120 a ticket, that will sell out. However, personally speaking, I'm delighted that they've got the two together, because I've talked my missus into letting me go for tickets, and I was no way I'd get to them both. So I'm happy enough that they're doing it together. But I just think they've missed a trick. They could probably have sold out two separate nights on that.
No, definitely. I think, as you say, there's also the Legends night as well after the Legends games at Ibrox. I think it's 25th of March. I think the ticket's still available for that one. So plenty of things coming up. Paul Martin's putting in there possibly a live Rabble show. That'd be class if we could get that on the go, certainly over the line. Bit of sad news today as well. Obviously, the club lost one of their own, Billy Thomson, goalkeeper from 94 to 96, and also came back as a coach in the early noughties as well. You guys are all of a certain vintage, so I'm sure you'll have some memories. Mark, I'm going to come to you first. Share with the group what you shared in the group chat earlier, because I thought that was really touching.
Yeah, his mum was my primary school teacher. Lovely lady. I mean, it just shows you, because that wasn't yesterday when I was in primary school. So obviously, it just shows you she had a lasting memory of her in my head. But really nice woman. And she was massively proud of her boy. Absolutely massively proud of her boy. Obviously, me being from Foxbar originally when I grew up, and as I said, it was Bridland Primary that she was a school teacher there. So lovely lady. As I said, massively proud of her boy. So and the fact that I was a Rangers fan obviously endeared me even more to her. So I think that she used to tell some stories about him and stuff like that. But what a lovely woman. And obviously sad news. He's a fairly young man as these things go as well. So no great at all. I don't know if she's still with us or not, but to say condolences go to her and the rest of the family.
Well said, absolutely. He didn't have a lot of games under his belt for Rangers, but I did see a nice quote from Craig Moore. He sort of said that when he came to the club, Billy was one of the guys that helped him get settled. Was really good to be about and made him feel at home. So, Kerr, you'll have watched Rangers for a long time. Your thoughts on Billy and what he meant to the football club?
Similar to Mark, actually, because I was in Bredon Primary as well, and I met Billy because he came to a fair one day, and he was playing with St Mirren at the time, and a few different St Mirren players came, and it was great talking to everybody. I knew his mum being a teacher, and his wife actually worked in the chemist in Paisley next to Manty, so you he used to always go in the shop and she would get me signed gloves and stuff like that. So I knew I was in quite a lot of places where I knew somebody that knew him, vice versa. So I got a lot of his gear up the loft, and he was a really nice guy, Billy Thomson. He was a really good goalkeeper as well. I mean, he was in the Scotland squad when he was at St Mirren, which was a big feat back then, and he came at Rangers, he done well. He was a goalkeeping coach for us, and then I think he was at Kilmarnock because he was a goalkeeping coach. I could be wrong there, but
no, you're right.
You've seen today on social media how many other goalkeepers have put a comment about him. I've seen Xander putting one, Jamie Langfield putting one, I've seen another couple of players. So I think he's just one of these guys who was genuinely a nice chap. He knew stuff about football. He was a really good goalkeeper, and Mark said he wasn't that old. He was only 64, so it's quite sad to hear. But like Mark as well, my thoughts and wishes go out to you, all his family and friends, because it will be a big miss to them, and it's sad news.
Absolutely. Well, goalkeepers have been a massive talking point for the football club. As I said there, Billy maybe not made as many appearances at Rangers as he might have done because there was a great goalkeeper in front of him. What are your memories of Billy, and anything jumps out in particular?
I mean, I think he only made 7 appearances for the first team, I think. But as I remember, he played against Juventus in the Champions League in '95 when they absolutely handed their arse to us, but it could have been a lot more if it hadn't been for him. I mean, I seem to remember an absolutely wonderful save he made from Ravenelli in one of the games. I think it was one of these Italians anyway. And but no, I mean, tremendous goalkeeper at the clubs. I mean, he played in the European final for Dundee United. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of Scottish keepers who say they played in the European final for anybody. You know, so that tells you how good a keeper he was. Unlike the other two boys, I didn't grow up in Paisley, and I didn't go to school where his mum was a teacher. But I only had the good fortune of meeting Billy once. I actually met him a number of years ago now when he was commanding at school keeping coach, and I was outside the front door waiting for somebody, and he came out to speak to somebody, and he had his commandant training, and I had my daughter was only wee at the time, and he got a photo with her and all that, and he was absolutely brilliant. Although she was, although he was obviously the commandant coach, she was obviously a Rangers fan. He couldn't have been better. And that's the mark of the man. He came out like that's an opposition, whatever, you know what I mean? But no, he was instrumental in McGregor coming through, because he was coach at Rangers at the time Greece first started coming through, you know, and that's all the legacy he needs for the man. I mean, as the lad said, you know, I mean, deepest condolences to all those close to him, to his family and friends. 64 is no age to go. You know what I mean? That's horrible. You know what I mean? 64 is no age at all, especially not these days.
No, listen, lads, you've put it beautifully there. Maybe I don't want to end on a sombre note. So we will just for the last couple of minutes talk about Sunday's game. Listen, I know Partick are only doing as well in the Championship as maybe they thought they might be. However, it's a no-win situation for the manager in terms of if he wins the game, there's going to be no big pats in the back. Am I right? It's another one you've got to go and get the win and get through in the next round. On you go, Ken, you jump. Aye, Mark, you jump in, Ash.
No, I think it's probably a chance to give as a couple of boys said earlier, give minutes to a few of the players. I see Cholak starting. I think maybe a perfect opportunity to give Kent a rest, which I don't think would do him any harm. Maybe Wright might come in and start a game as well. So I can see, as I said, the more I think about Raskin starting, because Wolf's put it in my head now that might be the case. So yeah, no, I can see it, but same as always. We can't look past anybody, especially in the cup, as I said, because we are a massive scalp. So it's definitely something that we need to be professional about, and I would hope whoever gets picked is going to go out there and try and put on a show and show the manager exactly what they can give the team. So as I said, I don't think we should be looking past them at all.
Mark touched on Tony Cholak. How much does that man need a goal right now? He needs a wee boost of confidence. Would you agree?
He does. He needs a couple of goals. He needs to start a game and get some minutes under his belt, and just to start getting going again. Because at the start of the season, he was scoring goals, so it was quite regular, and he was keeping us in a lot of the games, or winning us a lot of games. So He has to get more games under his belt. I mean, I know Partick on the Premier League. I've seen him a couple of times this season. They weren't great. Cole McKinnon, when I seen him, he was really good. He didn't play at the weekend. Cole when they get beat with Cove. So they're an average team. They're not the best side in the league, but they're not the worst side in the league either. They'll come to Ibrox. Listen, they'll come to Ibrox going to enjoy themselves because they don't expect anything. So they'll come and enjoy themselves, enjoy the stadium. Their fans are, by all accounts, sold all their tickets, so they'll come and enjoy themselves. Rangers have to play their strongest team possible. Who he thinks is going to win the game. Doesn't matter if you're playing Partick Thistle or Dundee United or Celtic. You have to go out and play a team you think is going to win. So it'd be good if you get a good few goals under the belt, and then maybe you can give some of the young lads like minutes under the belt as well. But I think Michael Beale's going to have to start his strongest side, whoever that may be. But you can't take it lightly, no matter if you think Partick Thistle is rotten or no. In the cup, you just never know. And I'm like Mark and Wolf. I still remember Hamilton Accies 3 years ago, and I remember being at that game, and I know it wasn't great because we expected to win that game. But I know it was you can say it was a one-off, but these things still haunt you. So we have to go out, play our strongest team, get the game done, and just look ahead.
Wilf, I'm going to give the final word to you. The Scottish Cup, how important is that to Michael Beale this season?
Both cup competitions are absolutely vital. I mean, he's come in 9 points behind the other lot. We're still 9 points behind them, so we've not gained any ground, but we've not lost any ground, which is quite encouraging. The cups are very important because he has to win. He has to win one, and it would be very nice if he could win them both. I think the League Cup final is going to be a massive marker. If we can beat them in that sets down a great marker. But the Scottish Cup, to win it, we're probably going to have to beat them again. So chances, you know what I mean. So that again be a big marker. But we have to win. Have to win at least one, and 1 and 2 would be a success for him coming in, because to me this Michael Beale coming in's got pangs of Alec McLeish come in when the league was all but gone, won 2 cups, then won us a treble. I'll settle for that one under Michael Beale.
Plus, for the holders of the Scottish Cup, so we'll have to keep it.
Yes, well said, Kerr. That's what you're on.
Correct.
Right, lads. No, brilliant. Cheers for the night. Guiding me through my first attempt at hosting it. I hope I didn't do too bad. Tomorrow night's Rabble Extra. If you're not a member, how no? $1.99, plenty extra content, so get at that. Tomorrow night, I think 8 o'clock. I need to remember how to put the theme song on and see us away. But no, cheers for coming off the bench, Kerr.
Robert, sorry, Robert. Before you go, can I just point everybody in the direction of Rabble Women's Show, which is coming up in an hour's time at 9:30. Myself, Brian, and Carr will be discussing the 2 games, the Aberdeen game on Wednesday night and the Dundee game yesterday, where I had the pleasure of standing beside Nicola Docherty's parents at the game, and I was absolutely gobsmacked when Nick Docherty, senior Nicola's dad, said, "I know you for Rangers Rabble," and I love watching it. So Nick, if you're watching, it's great to have you on board, young sir, and it was great to watch the game with them. So that took me aback a bit yesterday. It's always a bit kind of, when people say they see you, but when it's the parent of one of the Rangers players, you're a bit kind of, you know what I mean? Wow, you know what I mean? So yeah, the ladies' show in an hour's time. Myself, Brian, and Carr. Carr's also, so she'll be doing most of the talking. So just to point people in the direction of that.
No, listen, and the numbers are looking great for that as well. Wilf, you said that, so it's fantastic to see. Yeah, cheers, lads. Enjoy your evening. And again, back tomorrow for Rabble Extra. Cheers, lads.